The Mandara Mountains in the extreme north of Cameroon in Africa.
Forgive me, you, my parents who have passed away, and you also, the other gods. This kid is for you. It is the best I can offer. Forgive me, forgive me. When my father died, when God took him away, there was a great sadness in my heart. I felt a deep sorrow. I really miss his advice. Here, I offer this animal to you, my parents who have passed on, and to you also, the other gods. It is yours already. Take it. It is for all of you.
In a few moments, Ranava will sacrifice the kid. On this rare occasion, Ranava's family will be able to eat a little meat along with a bit of millet wine. Wine which must be drunk while sitting in a position of respect and submission because spirits are present. The spirits of his dead parents, as well as the spirits of the rocks, the trees, the rain. For the people of the Mafa tribe, it's essential that the gods are well fed, for it is they who will assure peace, protection, and food during the months to come. Four centuries ago, Ranava's ancestors left the flat plains to escape from slave traders. They sought refuge high in the mountains from where they could easily see their enemies approaching. Ranava was born in these hills. It was here that his father passed on to him the history of his people, as well as giving him advice.
My father told me that I must not be lazy. He was the one who showed me how to till the fields. He taught me how to work the ground. He told me that you shouldn't waste time arguing with people, that you shouldn't insult them or get into fights. My father taught me to rely only on my own effort and not to steal. This is the advice he gave me.
Ranava also learned that the Mafa do not easily leave behind the mountains where they were born. This is partly due to an attachment to their land, which is high up and therefore closer to the gods. But with their animist beliefs and low-class status, it's also because they're not welcomed elsewhere. Ranava therefore learned to sculpt the mountain, cutting it into terraces as his ancestors had taught him. Though they've learned to survive, the Mafa have never been able to prosper. Even today, the Mandara Mountain region is one of the poorest areas in Cameroon, and there are no longer enough fields to feed everyone.
My father had 5 fields. My uncle, who was the eldest, inherited 3 of them. My father got the other 2. When my father died, these were the only 2 fields he left to my brother and me. My children's inheritance will only be half of these 2 sections. It's all that I'll be able to leave them. It'll never be enough.
Ranava has 3 sons. Each one will therefore receive about 1/6 of a hectare, or possibly less if another son is born. In Mafa tradition, girls never inherit land. These fields to be shared consist of a few plots scattered here and there on the slopes. Terraces barely as wide as a sidewalk, on which Ranava alternates crops of millet and sorghum. These plots are so few in number that they must always be in use with no respite and with never enough manure to enrich the soil. They now provide only a sparse and therefore precious harvest. If he wants to feed his whole family, Ranava must do his utmost to protect the harvest from the stray animals and giant rats. Ranava married for the first time when he was 17. His parents arranged everything. They even took the bride-to-be into their own home for 2 years until she was old enough to be married. Zena was only 12 at the time of her marriage.
Ranava I began to love quite quickly, and I still love him. I've never left him. He's handsome. He provides for me with food and clothes. He doesn't get angry and he doesn't hit me. He cares for me. We have a good life together. And I've had 7 children with him.
7 children, born on the mountainside while squatting above a flat stone. Munage, her mother-in-law, gave encouragement while her outstretched arms waited to receive the newborn child.
When the child is born, I wash it with water. Then I cut the umbilical cord with a piece of millet stalk. I put the placenta in a clay jar, like this one, then bury it. It has to be buried properly so dogs, termites, or ants can't get at it. It has to be well hidden because if it's eaten, the child might die.
Of Zena's 7 children, 2 are dead, victims of sorcery. Warda is 13, and already he's doing an adult's work, even though he sometimes still cries like a child.
Sometimes, if my father goes to the town and comes back without any clothes for me. Also, there's sometimes when I skip the work in the fields, he whips me. When he whips me, I cry. It's hard working our land. We only have a hoe to till with. We often get rained on, too. In the rainy season, we've got nothing to put on. We're shivering with the cold, but the work can't stop. Sometimes, too, there are lots of weeds. It's tough. It's one of the times when we have to work the hardest, and at the same time, it's when we have the least to eat. It's just so hard.
It's hard work for Zena as well, one hard task among her many others. Overworked, Zena encouraged Ranava to take a second wife.
I was the one who suggested it. I went and convinced her to come. She would be able to help me get water and prepare the meals. It's very handy having another wife. It's very hard for us to get by here, and I can't do everything all by myself.
In our country, a man can't have 2 wives. Here there are 2 of you with Ranava. How do the 3 of you get along?
It's no big deal. We've got a system worked out. The new wife has priority, while the other one takes it easy for a while. After that, they take turns. It's always the turn of the one who cooks the meal. The husband decides, and that's the end of it.
When your husband goes to the other woman's hut, don't you get jealous?
There's no reason to get jealous. He was with me the night before. I can't get angry. Besides, if I don't show any jealousy, he'll love me more than the second wife. That is, as long as the other one's not as nice as me.
The other one. Her name is Enjikeldeo. Ranava set her up in another hut up on the mountain. She arrived about 2 years ago and has since had a daughter with Ranava. Enjikeldeo came with no belongings in spite of 2 previous marriages. All she had was Kundev, her 8-year-old daughter, already old enough to help her with chores for the time being.
Until her father asks for her. If he says, "I'm taking back my child," I'll give her to him. If he wants his daughter back, I'll have to let her go.
Why? The mother has no say in it?
No, the child belongs to its father. She's his child. I brought her with me and she helps watch over my baby. If he says she can stay with me, then for sure I'll keep her. But I can't put up a fight for a child who doesn't belong to me.
Do you know your father?
I can't picture him. But when I look at my mom, I love her a lot. If my father forgets about me, I'll be real happy to stay around my mom.
I'd be really sad if she left, and I'd be so very tired. When I go to get water, work in the fields, when I make dinner, she's looking after Ranava's baby. If she leaves, I'll have to do all my work carrying my baby on my back.
The Mafa women work to the limit of their strength and have no assurance of security in their old age. Their only resource, their husband. A husband who can decide at any time to chase them out if they're not working hard enough or if they show him disrespect. Zaina has to bow before her husband while placing the meal in his hands. Placing it on the ground would be an insult. Once Ranava has been served, Zaina rejoins the other women to eat what is often the only meal of the day. It's a meal which often fails to satisfy Warda's young appetite.
When I'm hungry, I get stomach cramps. My stomach goes gurgle, gurgle, gurgle.
Millet is the staple diet of the Mafa. Rolled in a ball, it's dipped in a sauce and then seasoned with a little salty water. The salt comes from cow dung, which is burned and filtered.
When the millet's gone, we won't eat much. Just a little bit. There's not much choice. We'll eat just a tiny little bit, a teensy-weensy bit. It's only after the harvest that we can eat as much as we want.
The Mafa give little thought to the number of mouths to be fed. Men take 2 and sometimes 3 wives. Families are large. The wives cooperate and generally agree on the sharing of duties. The husband profits from the women's work. However, polygamy does have its costs.
It's not easy because I don't have the means. I have to give the same thing to both of them. If I gave more to one than the other, then the one who got the least would be jealous. She'd be so mad. And me, myself, I wouldn't have a clear conscience. I love them both, and it wouldn't be right if I gave something to one and nothing to the other.
Would you like to have more children?
My father was a wise man, and he had lots of children. As for me, I can't say I don't want children, even if there's no way to provide for them. Even if there's no food, if God gives them life, it's all right. If God sends them, it's because it's a good thing. And if God calls me, like he called my father, my children will live as testimony to my having been here.